How you doing, bud? A little bit better today?
He's eating a lot more.
Yeah. I think he's gonna be all right. It's it might be a little too early to tell, but I think things are gonna be okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Monday. So yesterday we spent most of the evening actually just planted right on the couch and letting the cat sleep on us. We decided to just take the evening off and just rest with the cats. Sagan, we didn't feed Sagan for a long time to allow his stomach to settle, and then right before bed we fed him just a little bit of food.
With a lot of water.
With a lot of water.
We figured he might be dehydrated.
Exactly. So we gave him that, and it had been hours and hours and hours since he ate, and he was enthusiastic about eating. And then we stayed up a little bit longer to make sure he wasn't going to puke, because historically, yesterday he had been puking like half an hour later, and he didn't puke. And that was good. So we went to bed. Sagan slept like... When we first went to bed, he was sleeping on my chest, and then I woke up at some point and he was like curled up right next to me. And he was there the entire night. I woke up a few times in the night and he was like super close to me. And then around 7, he had just these light meows, these... We could tell he was hungry. So Mal got up and fed him a little bit more, tiny amount of food. And of course you got to give Kepler something, because Kepler would be like, hey man, what's going on? So Sagan ate again then, and then we went back to bed for a little bit, and then we got up and he just ate again, and so far so good. We actually we decided not to take him to the vet because it looks like we have things under control. We may still call the vet and see if the vet wants him to come in, but like there's no other, from what we can tell, there's no other problems there, and it could be just a weird stomach thing. And as long as he's not puking and he doesn't have any other bathroom issues, I think he's probably all right. But we're going to keep a close eye on him, continue to just like gradually increase the amount of food that we're giving him till we get him back to normal, and make sure he doesn't have any other problems. But yeah, we still have no idea what was up with him yesterday. We've owned the cats for how many years? 7 years?
Yeah.
And like in all that time, neither of them have ever been quite that sick. I mean, well, ringworm.
That wasn't really.
But that's not exactly what I'm talking about. Ringworm was terrible on a completely different level. This is just, a little something different. But I think he's going to be all right. Again, he hasn't puked now since yesterday in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if things are going to be okay for him. And if not, we'll take him to the vet. The other thing is that last night...
His energy's up too.
Huh?
His energy is up too.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
He's talking and walking around. He's not just laying there.
Yeah, he's not lethargic, which is another good key thing. Another thing is that last night, while we had all the cats on us, we were like, what should we do? Should we watch something? And me and Mal have been talking for a long time about her playing through BioShock. And I was like, do you want to start BioShock? And she's like, yeah. So since we have the Steam Link down here, or the Steam Link app, which is a cool thing that if you have a smart TV, you don't even need a physical Steam Link anymore. There's a Steam Link app on smart TV app stores, and you just plug a USB controller into the TV, and you can play Steam games. So I got BioShock Remastered set up, and Mal started playing through it, and she got a pretty good ways in, probably like 2 hours into it, and we went to make a manual save, and the game crashed. And then when we opened the game back up, the save was deleted. And I was like, what? And I looked online, and even though the remastered version of BioShock came out, years ago, This is still a problem happening. There are people complaining today, years later, about this. There is some sort of bug where when you go to perform a manual save, it crashes and then deletes the manual save. I couldn't believe it. And of course then Mal's like, wow, I put in all that time and it's gone. So I instantly uninstalled BioShock Remastered and reinstalled the first BioShock because it didn't do that. So yeah, that's nonsense. I mean, some people don't have that problem, but that's insane to me. That's crazy. Why on earth, after all these years, would that not be fixed? So I cannot, with any good conscience, recommend BioShock Remastered because I had no idea that there was like that problem with it. It might be fine on console. I can't imagine that problem would exist on console, but I guess I'm not sure. But yeah, if you are interested in playing BioShock, I recommend BioShock. It's a great game. One of the best games ever made, possibly one of the best first-person shooters ever made, but maybe don't play the remastered version. Because that's crazy. Not only would it crash while saving, but like if you previously had a save file, because we'd saved at least once before, it deletes it. Makes me sick thinking about it. But whenever we get a chance for Mal to play more of it, we'll just start the first game, and I'll probably play to quickly get her back up to where she was. She made it to where you get to your first Big Daddy fight, and she was about to go into that, and then the game crashed, so she never got to play that part, which also means I never got to experience her panicked horror at the idea that she would have to fight one of those big metal monsters. It's fun. You never forget your first one, Mal. You never forget your first one. By the end of the game, you're swatting them like flies, but at the beginning, Jesus, you are panicked and it's a mess. It's wonderful. Anyway, so like I said before, we're going to keep an eye on Sagan today. Make sure that he's obviously not puking, gradually increase his food. But because we did take a large portion of yesterday off, we got to get some stuff done today. Extra Life is approaching quickly, and there's still some more things to do. So it's a few hours later, and we're getting ready to enjoy some dinner, and Mao has made homemade meatballs. They smell incredible. We actually had meatballs not that long ago, and I don't think I ever actually filmed them.
No, I don't think you did.
But I'm doing it now. The meatballs are important, but the sauce is also important, because the sauce is delicious as well. And yes, there's an extra batch. It. Yeah, well that means that we can have some leftovers later, which is, really nice. And as an update on Buddy here, he's actually been doing pretty good today. We're still, limiting his food, but he hasn't vomited. He seemed a lot more himself.
He's upset about the food limitations.
He is. He definitely is. You can tell that he wants to eat more, but, we're trying to very slowly bring him back, in the amount, so we're just playing it safe, pal. There's also asparagus, because eating green things is important. Although I'm going to be honest, I'm not anywhere...
But look how tiny it is.
I'm not anywhere near as excited.
It's so tiny.
It is, and that makes a big difference. Asparagus is a million times better when it's thin. And that's good. It's just,
You want the meatballs?
The meatballs! The meatballs! Those meatballs were amazing, and because Mal made a double batch, we'll be able to enjoy them again in a week or so. We threw them in the freezer. Before I end off this vlog, I wanted to talk about this new mouse, which is green. Look at that, it's glowing green. This mouse, it's working now. It's working now. Yesterday, whenever I got it and I got it set up, I had made a comment about it and was like, oh, it remembered a lot of my settings and it was pretty easy to set up. That was true, but it didn't remember all of my settings. So then I went down the rabbit hole of trying to get it set up so it would have, all of my buttons ready. And more importantly, so it wouldn't have this continually like cycling through rainbow LED effect, because without any custom settings on it, it just cycles through every color of the rainbow really, really fast, like you're working in a nightclub. And I was like, I don't want it to do that. The mouse I had before, which I almost pointed at this one, but that's a different mouse. The G500 also had an LED on it, but it was just red. It was just red all the time. So I was like, I'm just going to make it a fixed color. So there's a little software thing where you can change it, and I just changed it to green because you guys may have figured it out. I like that color. So I fixed that, and that was good. But then actually going through and trying to get all of the buttons working was harder than it should have been. The Logitech software sucks. It's not great. And for the longest time, I was stuck on a very particular problem. One of the reasons I want a mouse like this that's got a ton of buttons is because I map them and use them within my application. So for instance, here in Final Cut, I can zoom in and out of the timeline by just clicking the mouse, forward or backwards. And what that's doing is it's telling the software to basically treat the mouse button as a keyboard shortcut. But the Logitech software, for whatever reason, wasn't getting some of my shortcuts right. And I was like, that's weird. It was getting the delete one right, which was just, basically the delete key, but it wasn't getting any of them right that had a command key modifier in it. And I kept pulling my hair out. I was like, this should be working. What's wrong with this thing? Why isn't it working? And I finally discovered that when I was setting up the macros, setting up the keyboard shortcuts to correspond to my mouse button, the stupid thing wouldn't work if I used the right command button. If I used the left command button, it was fine. But I had been doing it with the right command button. Now, you might be saying, doesn't seem like there should be a difference. Correct! Absolutely correct. And why the software would not let the keyboard shortcut work when I was using the right command button is beyond me. It was just kind of, a random thing that I discovered that I could use the left one, but I got it working. Anyway, it's working now, and so far, so good. The mouse feels a little different because it's sharper. It's got more sharp edges because gamers love sharp edges, and I don't prefer that to the more rounded nature of the last mouse. But I'll get used to it, and it is, in terms of functionality, it seems like a fine mouse. So again, it'll be fine. But I wanted to at least voice that criticism. It's crazy. Why would one command button work and one not? That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we? Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little